Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. We're gonna go over Charlie Kirk's stars. Now, I wanted to print this out, but my printer is out of ink, so of course it is. So I did screenshot it from my other computer, so I don't even know if we can see that chart very well. And let's get right to it. So I do want you to take a look at his first house and his second house. Hey, Antonia, how are you? Long time no chat. First house, second house. He has some stelliums going on there. I do apologize for not printing it. Like I said, my printer is out of ink, so it is what it is. So let's get kind of right to it here. So what happened to this gentleman was awful. In fact, I didn't see the full-blown video until my daughter was like, well, here's the Twitter feed. And I don't care what your political beliefs are, no one should have to go out like that. I'm sorry. Okay? Yes, you're right, Antonia. Many shitty things are happening in this world. Things that we as Americans probably don't even know about because our media does not cover a lot of the coverage. But, I mean, this young man spewed a lot of rhetoric. I mean, there were a few things he said. Empathy is something that is a woke mentality. There was that. He, I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment too, to an extent. Um, but he did not deserve to go out like this, in my opinion. Okay. Um, am I going to cry about him? No. But that's besides the point. His kids, this impacts the wife and the children for the rest of their lives. But Charlie Kirk was born on October 14th, 1993. I do not have a birth time. And he died yesterday, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, 9/10/25. Now, I went and looked let me bring up the moon chart as well. Where is it? I'll just bring it up on my phone. Hold on. Moon chart. What I wanted to see in his stars, exactly, it's another incident just to divide the people. And there was a whole lot of rhetoric going on about liberals and they're at war with them. But in reality, the call came from inside the house, meaning it was a fellow Trump supporter that took this man's life. Now, regardless, there are things I see on TikTok I don't agree with. And you want to know what I do? I keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling. Okay? One thing people seem to forget is that First Amendment right of freedom to speech is freedom of speech. Just because you don't agree with somebody's speech, they have that right as the First Amendment. My father went to war and fought for those freedoms. But Charlie Kirk, Libra. Now I want you to go back to his chart. Hold on. Let me go see where the moon was on the 10th. On the 10th, the moon was in Aries. So the moon was cruising through his 7th house of marriage, contracts, partnerships. And anytime you're on the back end of a blood moon eclipse, those of you that are on Patreon, I told you things like this were going to happen. I said there'd be Middle East news coming. And what did was it Israel or was it the US or was it both of us that bombed Qatar, whatever that Middle Eastern country is? Middle East. Anyway, the moon was in Aries, so it did not affect his dragon head or tail because Charlie Kirk's dragon's head was in Sagittarius and the tail was in Gemini. And his hidden dragon which you don't see on the chart, I'm going to put back up here in a second, was in Gemini, and the tail was in Sagittarius. So if you go back to the photo, which I'm going to bring back up for you, if you go back to the photo, let me just position this in the right light. You know what? Let's get that out of the way. So you see where dragon's head is, third house, tail is in the ninth. That's Gemini. The head is Sagittarius. This is also, why is it doing that? Well, his hidden is absolutely reversed from his dragon's head and tail. So the hidden, the head is in the ninth, the tail is in the third. It's reversed. I wish I could have printed this out for you, but this is pretty much what I'm going to have to do today. So let's go ahead and talk about his first house, because he has a stellium. Now, the first house is the self, and it's the soul's purpose. And please remember, this took place 10th, 11th, 12th, I believe, was a I call them semi-plutonic. It's not a full-blown platonic phase, but it does take those energies. And my days of caution and Patreon show that. So, so he didn't die on an unlucky or lucky dragon day, any sense of the way. But where is the universal dragon right now? The universal dragon is in Pisces, and the tail is in Virgo. So if you go to his chart, go to his chart. I know this is the crappiest way to do this, but take a look at the sixth house. Now, the sixth house is all clear. The sixth house is all clear. I don't know why my phone keeps doing that. Sixth house is completely clear. However, the universal dragon in Pisces was writing his sixth house of health and service to the world. And like my students, I teach my students, I tell them, just because the dragon head is sitting there doesn't mean you're going to be under an umbrella of luck. Sometimes the stars work very differently depending on one's own individual karma. So he had a stellium of the sun, the moon, and Jupiter in the first house. He was Libra, so he was really into, Libra's, there's a balance and harmony there, but Libra is also about justice and laws. And throw in a dragon's head in Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius is also courts, laws, justice. It's the codification of thought. So there's heavy indoctrination within religion there as well. Moving on to his second house. And I'm only going to go over this briefly. Moving on to his second house. His second house. You can see the second house. He had Pluto, Mars, and Mercury. So he had two stelliums, a stellium in the first and a stellium in the second. What this chart does not show is Chiron, which is in a critical degree. Now, here's the interesting part of his stars. There is a screen that I look at that my clients don't see. It's for astrologers only, and it kind of can tell where your critical degrees are in your chart. Well, his critical degrees were riding right on his dragon's head and tail, okay? They were both in critical degrees. And when you have critical degrees on your dragon head and tail, you do want to take notice of those things, okay? He also had a critical degree in Chiron, which on the chart you can't see it. I screenshotted this from my computer, and I'm not sure why Chiron isn't up there, but it's stationed in the 12th house. And Chiron is the wounded warrior, and this is the past life residue that you bring into this life. So Chiron was, like I said, stationed on his 12th in Virgo. Let me bring up my software on here, and let's interpret his chart for a minute so I can explain this to all of you. All right. I don't have his birth time, so I do want you to ignore the ascending and the midheaven because that won't be correct. But Chiron in Virgo. Now, people with this placement are going to be very neat and organized, and they're going to expect everything to turn out 100% perfect at home and at work. Okay. They enjoy inventing techniques and systems that are efficient and hassle free. And it will annoy him to discover work that is shoddily done. Like, don't do if you're going to do a job, do it 100% or don't do it at all. Just don't half-ass it, is what his stars are saying to me. And in his early life, he may have felt that his home life was a little chaotic, maybe a little disorganized, maybe even unhealthy. Um, as an adult, he'll either follow his parents' examples or go in the opposite direction. Um, and that's just a little brief explanation on Chiron. Now, going to his dragon's head in Sagittarius, this is the North Node in Sag. Souls with this placement are going to have a very active imagination and a sharp mind. They have been curious and restless and may never and have never developed an ability to concentrate. So he had some issues with concentration, and sometimes that actually can make for good radio hosting. I know a lot of radio hosts who are ADHD. You do very well in the broadcasting industry. In his lifetime, he will face resistance for committing himself to anything or anyone. You will learn to set future goals and to develop deep philosophies about life, all while undertaking a quest for higher knowledge, which is something Sagittarian energy brings. After all, Sagittarius does rule the 9th house of higher learning, higher knowledge, foreigners, foreign lands, courts, laws, justice, religion, and the animal world. Instead of living a life as superficially as possible and avoiding commitment, you will search for your role in the greater universe. And that is just a brief explanation of his North Node. Um, let's go to his stellium. He's got the moon, he's got the sun, and he's got Jupiter sitting there. Let's go take a look. Okay, so he had Jupiter in Libra. Now, anytime you have Jupiter in Libra, these souls will probably marry young. And he was fair. What was he? How old was he? He was born in 93. So 93, 2003, 2013, 23. He was only 32 years old, married with kids. So he probably did marry before 30. And anytime you have a Jupiter in Libra, these are very friendly and outgoing people. There's a news channel I watch religiously called the Young Turks. And one of the reasons I like that show, I follow them on TikTok. I'm not a member yet, but one of the reasons I follow that radio show or that news show is because they always interview people from the right along with the left. They kind of interview both. And Charlie Kirk has been on their show before. I remember watching it during the elections. They were interviewing him about things. So there were things that he said just the past few days before he passed that are a little what's the word I'm looking for here? A little, things are fishy. Okay. And he was talking about Israel. He was talking against the genocide that's happening in Palestine. Now, a couple of days ago, I did a video, the blood moon. And at the end of my video, I can always tell when someone's been butthurt by what I say. Um, Genocide is genocide, and never again means never again for all races, not just one particular one. And if you're drawing a blind eye to what's happening there, you are not a human being of any kindness or empathy. There's evil in your heart. So when I end my shows with Free Palestine, I could tell it pisses you off, some of you out there, and I don't really care. Okay? This does not mean when I say that, there are Jewish people in my family that are for freeing Palestine. So this is not a race issue at all, even though media wants to make it that way. It has nothing to do with that. It's a humanitarian issue. Jupiter and Libra. So Libra rules marriage, contracts, partnerships. Jupiter means he'll be lucky in love. I don't know anything about his wife, but when you have a Jupiter in Libra, you can have issues making your mind up, and you may miss opportunities because you actually fail to act in a timely manner. Traditionally, this placement of Jupiter indicates that you will eventually have a happy marriage or equivalent. Although it may not be your first, if inflicted, Jupiter in Libra can indicate reoccurring legal problems. There were no inflictions in his Jupiter. Like I said, the critical degrees were the dragon head and tail and his Chiron, which is the wounded warrior. All right, we covered Jupiter. Let's go. The sun is Libra. And what is Libra? All about diplomacy, marriage, contracts, partnerships. He was a full supporter of the Second Amendment. And I'm here to say that words have power. And when you don't watch your words, it can get you in trouble. And this is coming from someone that's lived 55 years. Words have power. And unfortunately, he lived by the sword and he died by the sword. Did he deserve it? Absolutely freaking not. But this is the problem with our society right now. We cannot, even as hateful as someone's speech may be, it's free speech. And I don't know what else to say about that. I just don't. Sun in Libra. So anytime you're dealing with Sun in Libra, these souls are usually physically attractive, and this ensures a wide choice of potential lovers. Now, Libras will fall in love with love. They're the hopeless romantic, and it's a beautiful thing. Libra is the scale. So there are a lot of times I hear Libras tell me that they're just searching for balance and harmony. And unfortunately, many Libras don't achieve that in their lifetime. Not all, but some. I think the ones that are more cosmically conscious will achieve that balance and harmony. Charlie Kirk was not cosmically conscious, so they do seldomly not achieve balance and harmony. And you're usually very concerned about justice and doing what is right, yet their idea of what is right may change radically throughout the years, along with their mood swings. Libra prides themselves on their sense of social grace and prefer to hang around with others who are creating a tranquil and serene environment. So his wife might have been a gentle lady. I don't know anything about the wife. Now, he also had a moon in his first house in Libra, and a moon in Libra. Persons with a moon in Libra are known for their charm and social grace, and they do have a natural talent for winning friends and influencing people. And he was an influencer. I mean, I've seen him speak on the Young Turks, and he spoke very well. Um, Clear, concise. Even if you didn't agree with his speech, he did speak clearly. They have good manners, kindness, and considerate nature to charm others and to make the right impression. They present an image of total balance and harmony, but actually, they perpetually struggle to achieve this impossible state. They can never achieve it precisely because they can see all sides of the picture. And I think towards the last few weeks of Charlie Kirk's life, he was seeing things in a very different light. Okay. I'm not going to say too much on this app because this app is controlled by Google, and our social media is all controlled right now. Um, but the American people know where their money is going and they don't like it. So it's time for Americans to stop paying their taxes because it's taxation without representation. So I won't be paying mine. In fact, I'm working on becoming exempt. I'm working real hard on that. Hold on. I have to answer this text. It's an emergency. Hold on. Okay. My daughter's up in class right now, up in Flagstaff, and I don't know. There's some issues. Um, Now, moving on from the moon, because the moon represents emotions. I talked about Jupiter. We're going to move to the second house. He had a Pluto, a Mars, and a Mercury all in Scorpio. And this is on the second house. This is the house of wealth, possessions, and public standing or public appearance, your self-esteem. That's the better choice of words. Self-image. Okay. Um, let's go to Pluto. Pluto is the generational. Most millennials are born with a Pluto in Scorpio. The cutoff is 1995 when it moves into Sagittarius, and then it becomes the Gen Z generation. All right. So moving on. So Pluto, he is on in the Pluto generation, but his Mercury was Scorpio. So anytime you have a Mercury in Scorpio, these are highly perceptive and intuitive souls. Mercury in Scorpio has the ability to see through people's false pretenses, and I think towards the end, he was seeing that with certain people in government. Now, a book dropped a day or two before he died called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk. Uh, hello? Can we say premeditated? And there's just some things that don't add up. I'm starting to think that both our president and the prime minister of Israel posted condolences at the exact same moment and the exact same time. A lot of people are saying it's AI. Um, Hold on, I'm going to look something up. Just want to get the facts on it before I go any further. So, yes, there's a book that came out 2 days ago, day before it came out on the 9th. Who is Anastasia J. Casey? Mysteriously book titled The Shooting of Charlie Kirk. I it's about an assassination of his life. How is that possible? Um, unless it was premeditated. Maybe the shooter is part of something bigger. Who knows? I don't. But so he had Mercury in Scorpio, and anytime you have Mercury in Scorpio, like I said, they have the ability to even succeed financially. They could see through people's false pretenses and false narratives. They're very dexterous and are able to adapt on fixing just about anything. And sometimes their vitriol about how they speak in public, um, it can be very offensive to some people. Like in his private life, he was very private and secretive and revealed his deepest thoughts to no one. The unknown was intriguing to him, and he had a powerful mind and he understood how thoughts create your reality. I don't know if that's the case because some of the things he said about guns, I mean, he kind of he died by his own words. God. So I say words have power. But that is his Mercury in Scorpio. Talked about Pluto. Now let's talk about Mars, because Mars is either desire, principle, or danger. And when you have Mars in Scorpio in the second house, that could be a recipe for destruction. Mars is in the positive. Mars is the desire principle. In the negative, it's violence, death, destruction. Pluto or Scorpio is the ruler of the eighth house of death and drama. So let me go to Mars. Mars in Scorpio. With Mars in Scorpio, you are very perceptive and have the ability to see through people's false fronts. So this gentleman, Charlie Kirk, was starting to see certain things in a very different light. Very magnetic personality. I can honestly say that from watching him on the Young Turks. And anyone who became close to him will have to be prepared to have handled his intense emotions, strong emotions. He was a highly magnetic person, and what else can I say here? With Mars and Scorpio, you want what you want and you want it now. So there's impatience with that placement as well. And you will stubbornly pursue your goals. So it is a very tragic event that has taken place, and I've been watching some things like I saw somewhere someone paid some Etsy witches to do spell work on him, and I think he's dead. I don't know what to believe here. I don't know. But it is sad. I will say that. And that's just a brief analysis of his stars. I'm not going to go into too much more detail. Um, I know that the news yesterday had flown him from Utah to Phoenix on Air Force Two, was it? Air Force. So there is that too. But it is Friday, and I am going to be posting, if you're still with me, Antonia, Wheel of Fortune. You're going to get something this weekend, probably on closer to Sunday evening, Monday. A little bit of crypto talk and things like that. I'll be posting a few other things on my Patreon. I highly recommend you go to Patreon and join for free. I do have a free one where you can get in and see all the stuff. And it's kind of where I've been going. Oh, you're welcome. I've got some good things to talk about in the crypto space. Like XRP ETFs are coming. Things like that. I do think the market is doing better. And it will get once, the American dollar is crumbling. We know this. It's gotten worse since Trump went into office. But if you're holding, you keep them on those hard wallets, get them off the exchanges. That's all I'm going to say. I know. But yeah, you just kind of want to. I'm seeing a lot of things on TikTok about getting your money off these exchanges that are not connected to the Web3. And that is actually a very important thing. You've got to get them off those exchanges. So I pulled a tarot card. Antonia, if you want a tarot card, let me know. Oh, I pulled a tarot card for the world at large. I'm working with the tarot today. And we drew the world in reverse. And that is actually quite appropriate. There's delays. It's stagnant energy. It's incompletion. There's no success. And that's very much a blood moon eclipse in Pisces energy. Um, like I said, people will be feeling a little confused. Even though the eclipse has gone, you got it, hon. Even though the eclipse is gone and it's past, this energy stays with us for well over a year. In fact, what was it? I said this in my last recording. What was it? August? I want to say it's 26th or 27th of 2026. We have a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces. The dragon will have already shifted by then. No, I think the dragon shifts on that day. On that day, there's a dragon shift. 27th of 2026. I think the dragon shifts into an Aquarius head and a Leo tail. So that I really need to get the United States chart up and show you guys what I'm trying to explain here, because hold on, hold it. I had the USA's chart up here once. That's Trump. Not sure what I did with it. These are all my printed charts. Just a second, Antonia. I'm getting your card. Hold on. Well, I guess I don't have it. Well, maybe I do. Wait. Nope, I do. I do. See, being a pack rat does come in handy. On the 17th of September, I have, 17th. I don't have my moon book with me. Let me go into my moon chart. I want to see where that moon is. Hold on. But I have a huge problem with my sun. Oh, no. Oh, no. Hold on. 17th. That's... Moon is in Leo that day. Moon is in Leo. Wanting. I hope your son is okay. To go to the universe. Oh, no. How come? He doesn't want to go to school anymore? I'm going to show you the USA's chart in a second. Let me pull Antonia's cards here. Hold on, I got to shuffle. Make room on my messy desk, too. Doesn't want to go to the... I'm so sorry to hear that. I know college can be stressful. My kids are exhausted. And one of them is up in Flagstaff right now. And the other one is in her room doing homework for the weekend. So, it is what it is, when it comes. I know college is hard. It's hard. My daughter told me something the other day that made me really, really sad. And I was like, really? Half of the students at her college are homeless. My kids are having an issue with housing too up there. They're living in a hotel right now, part time, and then they come back down here on the weekends. But there's a major housing crisis, and soon he is sick and tired of the courts. Oh, I understand that. That's understandable. Well, I have some good news for you, Antonia. You drew the stars. Very good card. This card is telling me that keep the faith. There's hope there. You're going to be at the right place at the right time. Okay, right place, right time. You're going to be at the right place at the right time. It's about a renewal. It's rejuvenating. It's universal love. It's higher intuition in some ways. It's higher consciousness. It's about also listening to your dreams, the intuitive side of yourself. It's bringing more purpose into your life and renewal and healing. Healing keeps coming up for me. This is healing. It's an Aquarius energy. So even though you're born in the sun sign of Pisces, this is gracing your first house, hon, because you are a February born Pisces. Self, soul's purpose, appearances, things like that, good impressions. So hang in there. This is good. It'll probably go your way in court. Okay. It's very positive. I know you need it. You've been going through this since I've known you. Okay. And it is time to end. This is just too much stress in one's life. So I'm sending lots of positive energy your way and good thoughts. Listen to your dreams, okay? They're going to give you downloads. They're going to give you messages. I will let him do anything he wants, and I will plan to go and live alone in the Netherlands. So you are going to move to the Netherlands? I hope it all works out for you, Antonia. Please keep me posted. Always in my prayers and thoughts. But that is a very good card. Keep the faith and have hope. Let me know. Of course, I've always wanted to go to Greece, but I've been to the Netherlands. It's beautiful, and I would love to go back and visit someday. You're very welcome, Antonia. Hang in there. I'm going to end it with this because I was talking about the next dragon that moves in July of 2026. I believe it's the 26th or the 27th. There is an eclipse on the 27th or the 28th. It's in my newsletter for Patreon, and I can't remember what I wrote. Please ignore the chicken scratch on this, but this is the chart of the United States. And the United States is a Cancer nation. I want to go to both. Yes, I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Greece so bad. There's so many things I want to see in Greece. I think I almost want to go to Greece more than Italy. I love food too. And I know that's an acquired taste in my household. There's not too many people. My oldest daughter and I go out for Greek lunches a lot because not all of my family likes Greek food. I love Greek food. Yum. United States, back to the... I will. I promise. If I make a lot of money in crypto, you bet. We're going to put that passport to good use. Oh, that sounds lovely. I might take you up on that. Oh, and you cook. I would love to learn how to cook Greek food. Yes. Oh, yes. Now I'm excited. I'm definitely going to look into that. Definitely. So if you look at the United States, it's a Cancer-born nation, July 4th, 1776. With its natal dragon's head in Leo and the tail in Aquarius on the 8th house, second house of wealth, money, possessions. And at one time, The United States was the kings on top of the food chain, so to speak. Um, and the tail sits in the eighth house, which the United States also is on. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Uranus is in Gemini, the eighth house or the 12th house. So the United States is on its Uranus return. Last time the United States was on a Uranus return was during World War II. Time before that was the Civil War. And the time before that was the American Revolution. So things are going to get crazy in this country very soon. But anytime you have a dragon's tail sitting in Aquarius on the eighth house, this explains why we use nuclear weapons on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. This is why there's dishonesty with UFOs and disclosure, and always has been. This is also why, how do I put this? Think of you what think of what Aquarius is. It's the new age. It's astrology. It's science. It's technology. It can be higher consciousness. It has a lot to do with free thinking, community, humanity, brotherly love. But when it's on its tail and you have a moon there, the energy becomes quite opposite. And when you elect a president, you also elect that president's karma or karmic residue. And Trump, is going through a Uranus return. Trump is on his deathbed. I don't see him living too much longer. You better get prepared for J.D. Vance as president. And I do have J.D. Vance's chart here. I just have to go in and study it a little more because I've put a lot of chicken scratches on this. So I'll look into J.D. Vance's stars in the near future, and we'll go from there. But the United States, I want to go back to them real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. The next dragon that comes, everything is reversed. So even though their dragon's head is in Leo and the tail's in Aquarius, the dragon's head, the universal one, is going to be in the eighth, and the tail will be in the second. Well, what is the second house? The second house is wealth, possessions, value, self-esteem. And with the tail moving in and sitting right there, all this big, beautiful bill, that's where this is going to have impact, because that's when it takes effect. That big, beautiful bill will go into effect. And when you have a country with the dragon tail moving through its second house, this is going to affect the money system, the way people make money. The American people in general are going to struggle. They're going to suffer. So when I did a video on TikTok, God, 4 months ago, some lady came at me kind of pissed off and said that I'm feeding into fear. No, it's not that I'm feeding into fear. I have a crystal ball. It's called my software, and I can see into the future. And the next 5 years are going to be brutally rough for the United States. Brutal for its people. All right. When you have a tail going into the second house, even though the dragon is they're natally, this country, the United States, is natally born with a dragon's head in Leo, the energy becomes very different. We are no longer king of the hill. We are no longer the kings. Rome, it took more than one day for Rome to fall. The United States, in some small measure, is going to fall. I don't know. I don't want that. That's not what I'm hoping for as a citizen of this country. But with that dragon moving into the second house and the tail there, that's not good. Now, with the dragon's head in moving into Aquarius, even though the United States has the tail in Aquarius on its eighth house, the head will be sitting there as well. And this is UFOs. This is disclosure. This is contact, possibly. Um, However, in the negative, because the United States has the tail sitting on its eighth house in Aquarius, this is where they can create a false narrative of a UFO invasion. Because I have trained myself, thanks to Dr. Greer. I know some of you don't like him. I love him. I've tr- he has taught all of his followers how to decipher between what is Lockheed Martin made or skunk works and what is real UFO ET technology. So there is going to be something maybe between 2026, late 2026 to January of 2028, where they could create a false invasion, and it's going to confuse people. And I know, get on your tinfoil hats because I sound crazy, but they're going to try and distract you by creating a fake invasion of something. But the real ones, the real ETs, are the ones that are going to make contact. And it won't be contact with every human being. There's certain souls in this world that are programmed by their stars to receive that contact with humans. Okay? A lot of portals are going to open. A lot of the bizarre, the strange, and the unexplainable are going to take place. People are going to, with that dragon head moving into Aquarius, sitting on the tail, a more positiveness comes with this, to where people are going to work together as a community. Okay. I'll talk more about this later on, but like I said, I printed this out over a year ago. That's just a little precursor to what's ahead for the United States. I want to be one of them. Yeah, me too. Me too. I keep saying that. Please take me off this crazy rock. It was such a pleasure to see you, Antonia, and keep me posted on things. And I'm going to look into travel to Greece. Um, I know every November they do a cruise, a music cruise. It's made for heavy metal, but every November they do this cruise and they take you all around Santorini, all these different islands. It looks so beautiful. Um, Something I want to do. It's on my bucket list. Before I die, I'm getting back to the motherland. That's Italy and Greece. Anyway, Antonia, keep me posted. Be safe. You're in my thoughts and prayers. All of you out there have a blessed Friday. I live in, I'm going to have to, I'm writing that down because I want to. I'm going to research that. You're very welcome, Antonia. All of you out there have a great weekend. I'm trying to think when the next phase is. I think the 14th, 15th, and 16th, we go into a moonic phase. So just be prepared for water, a lot of water events, a lot of weather and earthquakes. Forced relocation is always possible. And stay safe, follow the stars, and I'll be back on here hopefully next Friday. I'll try and get on here once a week. Okay, Antonia, ciao. Hang in there. All of you have a great Friday. Bye-bye.